Hello, I'm Rick Hope, pastor at First Baptist Church Lillian, and also, by the way, chaplain of the Lillian Volunteer Fire Department. And this is today's daily devotional thought for the day. This is brought to you by First Baptist Church Lillian and No Compromise Ministries. Genesis chapter 14, verses 5 through 16. Now, this is rather lengthy, but I want to read this to you today. It tells you of one of the greatest rescues that ever took place. In the 14th year, there was a king and other kings who were with him that came and defeated the Rephaim and Ashtaroth-Karnaim, the Zuzim and Ham, the Emim and Shavith-Karim, and the Hirites in their hill country as far as El Paran on the border of the wilderness. Then they turned and came back and defeated all the country of the Amalekites and also the Amorites. Then the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, and other kings joined battle in the valley of Sodom. Now the valley of Sodom was full of all sorts of dangers, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled. Some fell into some pits, the rest fled to other countries. So the enemy took all the possessions of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their provisions and went their way. Now listen to this, because we talked about this earlier. They also took Lot, the son of Abram's brother, who was dwelling in Sodom, and his possessions, and went their way. Then one who escaped came and told Abram the Hebrew, who was living by the oaks of Mamre the Amorite, brother of Eshcol and of Aner. These are allies of Abram. And when Abram heard that his kinsmen had been taken captive, he led forth his trained men, born in his house 318 of them, and went in pursuit as far as Dan. And he divided his forces against them by night, he and his servants, and defeated them, and pursued them to Habah, north of Damascus. Then he brought back all the possessions, and also brought back his kinsman Lot with his possessions, and the women and the people. Now it was 318 people. Let me break this down for you. I know that was a lot of Hanams and Amorites and Amazites and Amalekites and all that, and it can get real confusing. So let me break it down for you. Lot, who is Abram's nephew, was kidnapped by an enemy king. In fact, enemy kings. They had defeated many, and they were able to get Lot and his family and kidnap them. Now, this is several kingdoms put together in this defeat of Lot's people. So it was a massive army that had kidnapped Lot among many others. And Abram heard about this, and all he had at his disposal was 318 men. Now, when you put several armies together, I don't know how many it were, but I can guarantee you this, it was more than 318. And yet Abram, being confident in the Spirit of God, put together his small army and defeated them, and was able to rescue Lot and bring him and all his possessions back. Why? Because God had his hand on Abram. Now, I want you to understand something. Sometimes as Christians, we face insurmountable odds. Sometimes we face situations and problems and irritations. And sometimes we face financial discomfort. And sometimes we face marital discomfort. And sometimes we have teenagers, and we won't even begin to tell you what discomfort that brings. And sometimes it's hard to be a Christian in our home. And sometimes it's hard to be a Christian at work. And sometimes it's hard to be a Christian at school. And sometimes we think, I just want to give up. There's too many of them and not enough of me. But you plus God always equals victory. If it had just been Abram, he would have still been victorious because God was on his side. That's what you need to understand. Abram was not able to rescue Lot with only 318 men because he had an impressive military strategy. Abram was able to rescue Lot because God was on his side. You will overcome the world, and you will overcome Satan, not because you are the strongest spiritual person that you know of, and not because you're the best in your church, and not because you know the Bible frontward and backward, but because as long as you stay in the Word, stay in prayer, and look to God, He will always be on your side, and victory will be yours.